like super happy because like it was a tough match. So yeah, there were really tough moments where she was playing well, and like
I think it's only normal that with the loss comes disappointment and being upset, but then again, it's another.
The rise, the fall, and the $45 million lie. Inside Alex's Melbourne Meltdown. Welcome back to Champions Tennis, your #1 source for the rawest, realest, and most explosive tennis stories on the planet. If you are not subscribed yet, you are missing the pulse of the tour. Hit that like button now, because what you are about to hear is the story that has the entire tennis world buzzing, arguing, and completely losing its mind across social media. We are coming to you in the aftermath of one of the most dramatic emotional roller coasters in recent Grand Slam history. Australian Open 2026. The stage was set perfectly. The narrative was written in gold. The Queen of the East was supposed to rise in front of a roaring sea of red, blue, and white. Instead, tennis delivered a plot twist so shocking, so brutal, and so cinematically devastating that even Hollywood would have called it unrealistic. This is the story of Alex Eala, the pride of the Philippines, world number 49, a 20-year-old who just days earlier was lifting trophies and making established champions look ordinary. When she walked onto Court 6 at Melbourne Park, it was no longer just a tennis court. It became Little Manila, a fortress of Filipino pride, a carnival of dreams, hope, and impossible expectations. For 34 breathtaking minutes, it looked like a coronation. Ella dismantled American powerhouse Alicia Parks with a ruthless 6-0 opening set. A bagel, the most humiliating statement you can make in professional tennis. The crowd erupted. Flags waved like a liberation army had arrived. Social media broke under the weight of celebration posts and premature victory declarations. The internet had already crowned her. Then everything collapsed. The American woke up. Park's serve transformed into a weapon. Aces began raining down like missiles. Momentum flipped in real time. In just under 2 hours, a dream debut turned into a nightmare exit that will live in highlight reels for years. 6-0, 6-3, 6-2. Alicia Parks advanced. Alex Eala packed her bags for the singles draw. But that loss was only the beginning. Because while the tears were still drying in the locker room and Filipino fans filed out of Court 6 in stunned silence, another story ignited online. A rumor so explosive it hijacked the conversation entirely. A claim that Alex Eala rejected a massive endorsement deal just days before the Australian Open. Some reports say $45 million. Others say she walked away to protect her image and focus on charity. And then there are those calling it the greatest PR myth of the decade. A carefully engineered story designed to elevate her into something more than an athlete. A symbol. A saint. Today, we are pulling this story apart piece by piece. We are breaking down every turning point of that Melbourne meltdown. We are taking you inside the suffocating pressure of Little Manila and what it means to carry the hopes of millions on 20-year-old shoulders. And most importantly, we are exposing the truth behind the so-called $45 million lie. Was Alex Eala really the most principled, incorruptible athlete in modern sports, or is her management team playing a long, calculated game with the media and her fan base? Before you can understand the weight of that loss, you have to understand the height of the expectations. And they were stratospheric. Just days before the Australian Open main draw, Alex Eala was the hottest unseeded player on the grounds. Not in theory, not in hype, in results. She was winning real trophies against real competition. The King Classic was not a warm-up. It was a statement. And the victim was Donna Vekic, Olympic silver medalist, tour veteran, a proven top-tier competitor. Eala did not beat Vekic once. She beat her twice in 2 weeks. First in Auckland, then again in Kwong, where Eala entered what can only be described as absolute control. She swept Vekic 6-3, 6-4 to lift the Yvonne Goolagong Kali Trophy. That moment mattered. Yvonne Goolagong is Australian tennis royalty, a legend, a name that carries history and respect. For a 20-year-old Filipina to lift that trophy sent shockwaves through Melbourne Park. The media went into overdrive. Headlines declared her the hottest player in Melbourne. Analysts stopped calling her a prospect and started calling her a threat. She cracked the top 50. She walked the grounds with confidence we had never seen before. And with that confidence came something dangerous. Expectation. The Quam victory did two things. It convinced Filipino fans around the world that this was the year. Not just participation. A deep run. Maybe history. And it painted a massive target on her back. Alex Eala was no longer the underdog. She was someone opponents prepared for. Game planned for. Feared. Waiting for her in round 1 was Alicia Parks. A player with a serve that can end points instantly. A player capable of brilliance or collapse on any given day. On paper, based on momentum alone, Eala was the favorite. The form was undeniable. The stars appeared aligned. Monday, January 19th, 2026. Melbourne Park. Court 6. If you were not there, you cannot truly grasp the atmosphere. Court 6 is intimate. Fans sit close. You hear individual voices. You feel the energy pressing down on the court. And the Filipino community showed up in overwhelming numbers. The line to enter stretched back toward Rod Laver Arena. Thousands draped in Philippine colors. When Alex walked out, the roar carried across the grounds. Players on neighboring courts stopped mid-practice, wondering who had just arrived. This was not a tennis match anymore. This was a moment. She fed off that energy like a true champion. The match started, and what followed was nothing short of a demolition. The first game alone was an epic marathon, 20 points, 8 break points, a war of attrition. But once Eala finally broke Park's serve in that opening game, the floodgates didn't just open. They exploded. Eala was painting the lines with surgical precision. Her lefty forehand found angles that seemed impossible in three-dimensional space. She moved Parks from side to side like a puppeteer controlling strings, exposing weaknesses, making a professional athlete look uncharacteristically clumsy. 34 minutes. That's all it took. 6 games to 0. A bagel. In a Grand Slam main draw. Against a dangerous server. Back in the Philippines, group chats melted down. Messages flew. She's going to win the whole tournament. Parks can't handle the heat. The crowd's chants, "Let's go, Alex," were so deafening that the chair umpire had to intervene multiple times. Alicia Parks looked lost, like she had wandered onto the court by accident. She wasn't just losing. She was being dismantled point by point. Eala was already mentally in the second round, imagining her next clash with Karolina Machova. But here's the brutal truth of tennis. It's never over until that final handshake. Between sets, Parks reset. She splashed water on her face, looked in the mirror, and reset mentally. "I wasn't fully prepared for just how intense the crowd would be," she later told reporters. "I just kept telling myself to stay in the zone, to focus only on my game." Parks realized she couldn't out-rally Eala. If she stayed in long baseline exchanges, Ella's consistency and court coverage would grind her into dust. She needed a different strategy. Aggressive, high risk, and points quickly. The second set began. The shift in energy was palpable, like a storm moving in. Parks came out swinging, and it worked. Her serve clicked. Points ended quickly. Eala still fought, clawing her way back to 3-all. The crowd reignited, believing their champion could retake control. But Parks had found her rhythm, her confidence, and her 12 aces would crush that hope. Each ace demoralized Eala after she had fought so hard for every point. By 5-2, Parks served for the match. Eala saved 2 match points with sheer heart, the crowd begging for a miracle. But on the third match point, Parks unleashed an uncompromising forehand. Game, set, match. 0-6, 6-3, 6-2. The comeback was complete. The silence that followed was crushing. Flags lowered slowly. Disbelief washed over the stands like a wave. How do you win the first set 6-0 and still lose the match? Parks, the newly minted villain in this Filipino fairy tale, laughed slightly when asked about the hostile crowd. I don't know my record against tough crowds, but it definitely puts a fire in me. It makes me want to prove people wrong. She had used their energy against them like a judo master, redirecting force to her advantage. And now we pivot to a story unfolding off the court, one that may explain some of the crushing pressure on Eala's shoulders. You've seen the social media posts. Alex rejects $45 million from Wilson. Eala turns down Saudi money to stay pure. Eala says no to a multi-million-dollar brand deal to focus on tennis and charity. The rumor mill, relentless as ever, claims a lifetime endorsement worth tens of millions was offered and rejected. Reasons? Vary. Focus on her career. Loyalty to current sponsors. Donations to charity. The story is Hollywood perfect, an incorruptible athlete choosing principles over wealth. Here at Champions Tennis, we don't deal in fairy tales. We deal in facts. After investigation, the evidence is clear. It's mostly tabloid fiction. There's no record, no credible source, no confirmation from Wilson, Eala's management, or her family. Eala remains under documented contracts with Babolat, Nike, Globe Telecom, and the Bank of the Philippine Islands, established partnerships that have supported her for years. So, what do you think? Should athletes reject huge sums to protect focus and integrity? Or should they secure financial security while they can, separating business from performance? Let me know in the comments. I read everyone, and I love hearing different perspectives. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the drama, heartbreak, and the truth behind the headlines, smash that like button. Subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss breaking stories or exclusive analysis. Until next time, keep your eye on the ball, question the narratives, and support these incredible athletes who put everything on the line. This is Champions Tennis, signing off. If you want, I can merge all 4 intros you've drafted so far into a single cinematic YouTube megascript with a continuous flow that builds Eala's rise, Park's villainy, the crowd drama, the off-court contract rumors, and the post-match fallout. It would read like a sports documentary in one smooth narrative. Do you want me to do that?